My name is Justin Ogle, and I am presenting my sociological perspective. This is my final project in sociology based on my previous modules. Firstly, I would like to speak about my community and the groups, in which I belong to or identify with. And the first one I identify with, the most commonly I identify with, is DeSales High School. I am a student at DeSales High School. It is something I talk about very much and is a large part of my identity and who I am. Secondly, is the area in which I live, which is the Hikes Point area of Louisville. And I grew up in this area. I've been here for 17 years, and this is the part of town in which I am most heavily associated with. Nextly, I belong to St. Martha Parish. I'm a Catholic. My Catholic faith has a lot to do with who I am and has to do with a lot of my morality and my habits. And I'm an active member of the community there. Lastly, I work at Mockingbird Valley. I just started working there, but I'm new to the community. I'm active. I'm always there, and you can usually catch me there afternoons and the weekdays. So it's part of who I am, and I'm happy to be part of their community as well. As far as primary and secondary groups, I have one main primary group and one main secondary group. My main primary group is my family. I live with my family, which means I'm with them daily. I spend almost every moment of every day with them, and I spend more time with my family than any other group. This is a no-brainer. It's family over anything else. Family has played a crucial role in the habits I formed, my morality, my behavior, the activities I partake in. They are basically they're the basis of my community, and I would not be anywhere I am right now without them. My secondary group is my peer group at school. I spend a lot of time with them at school because they're my friends, and I oftentimes socialize with them on the weekends. So I do spend a great amount of time with them, but not as much as my family. My friend group is also responsible for helping me develop some of my interests and hobbies. And that's it for my primary and my secondary groups. Which leads me into the statuses I have in society. I have both ascribed and, statuses that I've taken on myself. First status is as a student. I'm a student at DeSales High School, as I have already said. I'm a senior and will be graduating this year, but after I graduate, I will be furthering my education at the University of Louisville, which means I will still be a student, and that'll still be part of who I am. Nextly, I am a son. I'm a son to both of my parents and only my parents. This is an ascribed status, which means that it was assigned to me at birth. I did not have the choice to be a son to my parents. I spend a great amount of time with my parents, and I take time fulfilling this status, meaning I spend a lot of time in this status, or even in this, it could become a role per se, and it is part of my identity. My final status that I would like to highlight is as an activist. I've been one since the age of 16 years old. I started to take part in political activism, and in being an activist, I have the ability to be a leader, and my loud voice is utilized. I take a tremendous amount of pride in doing this, and it is part of who I am in society. As far as deviant behavior goes, where I really don't fit in with the mainstream, or I have behaviors in which that aren't seen as normal or as obedient, is my identification with straight edge, which means I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't do drugs. Partaking in straight edge behavior is deviant because it is a protest against mainstream culture and the normalization of substance usage. Drinking alcohol and smoking, doing drugs is a big part of, Hollywood culture, and straight edge is a protest against that. And that is exactly why many see it as deviant, because it's so normal, and it's a normal activity for many, many people. And straight edge is against that. And as a straight edge, I am also against that, which is seen as different. And because of this, from personal experiences, I have been outcast and I have received informal sanctions for this behavior, whether it's not being invited to parties or just being called names or seen as weird by other people. I've received informal sanctions for this behavior because it is just seen as deviant. With social mobility, both in my personal life and my community, they go together hand in hand. Because my community isn't able to progress as much, I am not able to progress as much, and my family has not been able to progress as much. Which makes it's very difficult for my family to progress because my community isn't progressing. This is because our public schools aren't adequately funded, our small businesses are falling apart, and our infrastructure is unkempt. We don't have a lot of new businesses in the area I'm from, and a lot of them are closing down. Our, if you drive through Hikes Point or specifically my neighborhood, the grass isn't cut, the roads are bumpy, the paint is fading on the roads. It's not a very good look. And our public schools are some of the worst ranked ones in the entire state. We're not progressing as a society because we're left behind. My neighborhood is mostly Asian, I believe, predominantly Indian, and I'm not going to accuse the government of being racist, but in a way it does seem like we're unfairly targeted because we're a minority community. And my family has stayed at the same level of income roughly my entire life, which means we have not progressed despite progressively working harder. My parents have started a business. My mom has gotten jobs as a youth minister or as a teacher. My dad he's worked in the army, he's worked at Ford, he's worked as a cableman. He's done basically everything while they're running the business, and we still, are middle class and aren't progressing really. Finally, I would like to talk about race and culture because I feel of the ones I've talked about so far, this one has impacted me the less, or the one that I've thought about the least, really, when it comes to my spot in society. My father is Native American, my mother is Irish. I identify as a white American because on the surface I do just look like a white American. And I usually don't mention being Native American when I'm asked about race, just to keep it simple. Despite this, though, I'm extremely fascinated by my Mi'kmaq heritage, and I don't believe it doesn't get much attention in the United States, mostly because it is a northern Canadian tribe, which in the Americas or in the United States, we mostly focus on the ones in the United States, such as the Cherokee and the Seneca. But I'm from the Mi'kmaq, and I'm extremely fascinated by it. As a white male, I've never really experienced systematic oppression directly. This is why understanding and learning about systematic oppression and racism has become extraordinarily important to me, because personally I don't know if I'll ever be able to understand that struggle, but it is imperative to me that I at least learn about it and be able to contribute to not adding to it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned about my sociological perspective and took into account the conditions in which I live and my life and where I am. So thank you.